after like over a month or so, or almost a month or so, we're back for our second episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, as now we officially call it that. Now, I say the second episode because this is not the second time we actually tried. This is like the fourth time now we tried to do a second episode. We had one time we tried to do it, someone couldn't show up, and then last week, or whatever we did do it, and the video lasted 4 hours, but after filming, the files somehow got corrupted, so 4 hours of talking, gone, just like that. So, we're going to restart with episode 2. It's going to have some things from episode 2 that we talked about, with a little bit of extra that we were going to talk about for episode 3, as Harry and Vlog are here. So, first off, what we're going to talk about later on from the second episode, we were going to talk about foreign policy, and we're going to talk about mainly, like, the hot spots in the world, and then maybe some other things, too, if anyone wants to add on that. And then we were going to have some good old times making fun of religious fundamentalists. Oh, that's going to be fun, especially Brian Fisher.
Oh, yes.
But first off, since I wanted to do this for episode 3, we're going to do it right off the bat. And that is, we're going to talk about the Democratic debates that just happened a few days ago. And we're going to watch some Kyle's videos on that. So, you all ready for that? Yeah, that'll be fun to watch that again.
Yes, we are.
Alright, so I think we'll start off by watching... Okay, here's the first Democratic debate. Alright, before we play, make sure you all hear Kyle.
So last night was part 1 of a 2-part debate series.
Vlog?
I can hear him, but
that's
he's
happening
quiet.
on NBC News and MSNBC.
Now you hear him?
Yeah.
Better, much better.
Alright, here we go. This is the...
So last night...
Pause, Kyle. This first video was the first debate the night before. Not the main one with, like, Bernie and all. So here's what Kyle had to say about it.
So last night was part 1 of a 2-part debate series that's happening on NBC News and MSNBC. On stage, we had the people over my left shoulder. We had Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke, Julian Castro, John Delaney, Cory Booker. Why am I blanking on his name? Jay Inslee, Bill de Blasio, Amy Klobuchar, Tim Ryan, and Tulsi Gabbard. Tonight, if you're watching this the day that this video is released, then tonight we have Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Andrew Yang, and many others. But this was part 1 of the debate. It was all these people over my left shoulder here. And a lot of interesting stuff happened. So I want to give you, before I get into specific clips, and by the way, I have a lot of them, I just want to give you my general debate breakdown, my initial thoughts. I've now watched the debate twice, once live as I was, tweeting along with it.
Yeah, I could never watch it once, let alone twice. Because he's a political machine, unlike you and me. But Harry, of course, I probably have no trouble watching both times.
Well, Timbo, that's because I watched both debates live, unlike you. Because I don't follow sports, and I treat debates like sports. So fuck you for not watching them.
And then once just before I started doing this show for show prep. So I watched it twice. I've now, thoroughly digested what happened, and I've formed what my thoughts are on it. So first, let's go to the biggest losers. Now, in my opinion, and this one is a little bit controversial because some people do disagree with me on this. So this one's not unanimous. This one is not like everybody saying it. But in my opinion, I think Amy Klobuchar is one of the biggest losers. Now, the reason I say that is she was flat. She was flat the whole night, and there was nothing at all that stuck out to me. It's not even like she was flat, but she was saying some things that were good. It was just flat, and she was saying things that were me. So I'm not too surprised by Amy Klobuchar flopping.
Hey, you know what? Kyle's saying flat, you'd be like, you're saying she's flat? You're sexist. How much you want to bet people would do that? People have called Kyle sexist before, remember?
A lot more. They've called him sexist for much dumber things.
Yeah.
So
I honestly believe that in a different political era, she'd have a chance. But, it's no longer the 1980s. This kind of politician is done. And the funniest thing she said was, I'm not an establishment candidate, or I'm not the establishment candidate. She was trying to act like she's an outsider.
Liar, pants fire.
Hey, be like Hillary. I'm not insider. I'm a woman. You're all sexist. Remember that?
That's hilarious because she's, a hardcore centrist corporatist. So she is one of the establishment candidates. She represents that ideology. She represents that philosophy. So she was one of the biggest losers. On my list of biggest losers here, that's the most controversial one because I have seen some people disagree with me on that, but that's my takeaway. Now, these next two are, I think, tied, in my opinion, for just worst of the worst, almost unanimous. Everything I've seen about them agrees. Beto O'Rourke and John Delaney.
Oh, God, Beto O'Rourke.
It was terrible. John Delaney...
I think I can officially call him Beta O'Dort.
And of course, a stupid ad had to play, so hang on. Before I play the video again, I'm going to have to go pause, ad block, because can't have no ads while we're doing the videos. Oh, I saw the video. Remember, he dodged the question and then spoke Spanish. Like, what the fuck was that? I started busting out laughing when I saw that. Remember that? Oh, that was great.
It arrogantly thinks he's nailing it every time he talks, but it's like nails on a chalkboard every time he talks. Not only is his personality insufferable, also the stuff he says is stupid. He's like proudly repping that centrist badge and attacking Medicare for all and acting like, he's so smug and condescending, and he interjected and cut people off 1,000 times, and he would run into a brick wall because the moderators would stop him. Pretty much unanimous that everybody thinks John Delaney did poorly. Now, I polled you guys who you think who did the worst, and you all thought Beto O'Rourke did the worst. Yeah, I think it's a tie between Beto and John Delaney.
Oh my
Beto
God.
was, the entire night, he looked nervous. It's totally understandable that the first 5 minutes, first 10 minutes, or maybe your first answer or something, you're nervous because it's a big deal. You're, on a stage in front of millions of people watching from home. It's Democratic debate. It's the first one. But he never settled in and he never looked comfortable. He always looked nervous. He always looked on edge.
I guess that's
and
why
then
I went on that
you
tirade
could see the
Spanish
nervousness
then.
in his eyes. But as he was massively
That's
nervous,
why
he
I
was
call him Beta O'Dort.
Yeah, that was so funny when he did that. I think someone said like he and like Castro or someone had like talked to each other back and forth in Spanish or something like that. Hey, blow up me, I'm Harry. Did that happen?
Actually, not in Spanish, but they did go back and forth on immigration because like Beto O'Rourke is actually slightly to the right on immigration than Julian Castro, so that's why. Yeah.
also trying to counteract that by sounding more and more like a standard politician. Like he was doing his talking points, and I tweeted as I was watching it, it always seems like when Beto talks, he's trying to build to some grand crescendo, but it never comes because he says absolutely nothing. So everybody agrees that Beto did poorly. His worst moment was, and I'm going to cover this one in its own segment because it was that funny. I'm going to show you the clip later on.
That
But
was
his
funny.
worst segment was he was asked about whether or not the top marginal tax rate should be 70%. I think that's a pretty good question. Okay? You know what his response was? To say the economy should work for everybody, and then he goes on to speak in Spanish.
That was funny as shit.
It came across as like
Well,
pure
then,
pandering.
I think it was Castro who did that as well.
Like, yeah, I'm going to dodge it. And yeah,
Bryce, Julian Castro, he did not talk about he didn't comment on the 70% marginal tax rate, so no, I don't think so.
But
That was later in the debate.
No, Bill de Blasio, he said we should tax the rich.
De Blasio, that's right.
Yeah, de Blasio.
De Blasio who was speaking in Spanish.
No, it was Cory Booker, Bryce.
Yes. Booker.
standard politician. And yeah,
I'm,
I'm also
getting
going to
my,
try.
I'm getting my corporatists confused.
because they're all a bunch of losers.
Or like virtue signaling
Yeah.
brownie points by speaking Spanish, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping
yeah.
that will override the fact that I didn't answer the question.
Y'all can hear Kyle just fine because I sped him up to 50%.
Yeah. Wait, guys, before we continue, I gotta say I agree with you guys. Like Cory Booker and Castro, yes, they're both like core Democrats economically, but you gotta admit even if De Blasio is somewhat of a neoliberal, like out of those three, wouldn't you agree that he sounds like the most left out of those three? Wouldn't you guys agree on that? Because like based on his rhetoric alone, I would say he sounds like he sounds like a hardcore lefty, like Kyle says, even though he might be a fraud. But he out of the three of them, he sounds like the most progressive. What did you say? I guess.
Yeah, but he's still full of shit, probably.
Still a corporatist.
Yeah.
But I'm saying out of those three, doesn't he sound like the most progressive?
Yeah, he does, but he's still full of shit, though.
He's kind of like Obama, more like Obama than Hillary.
Yeah.
And because I'm probably not going to be dick when it comes to raising tax.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, he's probably. I would agree. He's probably more like Obama than Hillary.
But do you all hear Kyle just fine sped up though?
Taxes on the rich.
Yeah.
So he did terrible. Those were the three biggest losers. Now, before I get to the biggest winners, let me give you the notables and tell you what happened with them. When I say notables, I mean kind of like middle ground type characters here. So Tim Ryan actually started off really strong, and for a while he was maybe one of the leaders in the debate. Like, he was doing that well. And then he ran into a brick wall called Tulsi Gabbard.
And then got his butt kicked.
Yeah, that was so funny. And then he lied on Mike covered. He lied and smeared. Tulsi called her Colin dictators and isolationists.
Yep.
That was great.
She destroyed him on the issue of Afghanistan and on war to the point where he went from
apart and he got ratioed.
When are these people gonna learn? You ain't gonna beat Bernie on domestic policy, and you're not gonna beat Tulsi on foreign policy.
Being one of the better debaters to being one of the losers. Now, the reason I didn't put him among the actual biggest losers, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, and John Delaney, is because I felt like they did worse than Tim Ryan. At least Tim Ryan had like half the debate where he was doing well, and then he, shit himself and gave it all away at the end. But at least he had moments where you can go, oh, okay, he did a good job there. Now, Jay Inslee was notable because I think he actually did a good job, but he spoke the least amount of everybody on stage, and I think it came across that way. Like, he did the most with the little he spoke, but he's not going to leave a lasting impression on people because he didn't speak enough. He just didn't. And that's, by the way, that's the reality of it. They actually released the amount of time that each candidate spoke, and dead last was Jay Inslee. So I think he did a good job, and he's a better candidate than I thought, but he just didn't speak enough. So, I don't think he helped his campaign. I don't think he hurt his campaign, but when you're polling at 1%, you got to help your campaign. So, we'll see what happens with him, but that's what I thought.
Maybe they don't have enough time to do it, but really, maybe he should try to give his equal time for everyone, don't you think?
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you can try, but with half of them interjecting every 30 seconds, it's not going to be as easy.
Yeah.
No. Wait, Tim. They should. Wait, Tim. You know what's funny? I guess you could say what's funny is Mayumi never talks in in your server, and her governor spoke the least. Isn't that kind of funny?
Very funny.
Yep.
What happened with Jay Inslee. Now, Booker and Castro, they're interesting cases because there are many people who say Cory Booker did well, and there are many people who say Julian Castro did well, including many of the people in my own audience. Here's what I'll say about them. They didn't do any damage to their campaigns. They just didn't. And it's funny because when you put Beto O'Rourke and John Delaney under pressure, they appear nervous and they appear even more awkward. When you put Cory Booker and Julian Castro under pressure, they didn't appear as awkward as they usually seem. Usually they are just... Cory Booker and his dad jokes, and he just comes across in a creepy way. Julian Castro with his, I'm a standard politician shtick, which is so infuriating and annoying, and he's always on script. But during this debate, they didn't do poorly. Now, the reason why I don't put them among the biggest winners is because they still said nothing of substance. And when you say nothing of substance, I'm not going to put you among the winners because you didn't say anything of substance. You didn't say anything that leaves a long impact on people. You didn't have any one line.
And if they did say something of substance, we don't believe them, so...
No, wait, Tim. Tim. No, Tim. I agree. Both of them, they're still corporate Democrats when it comes to economic policy compared to Bernie, obviously. But I'll say this. Obviously, I would say Castro. Yes, he's a corporate Democrat, but which is why he chose immigration as his front and center policy. Because he was, I would argue, he was actually the best person on that stage on immigration. Because He did say he was quite substantive on immigration, so I'll give him that. So would you guys agree that he's pretty good on immigration, but
I have no idea what his policy was on immigration. Because don't forget, I didn't watch the debate.
Wait, guys, let me tell you. He said he said it's about fucking time we treat crossing the border instead as a federal offense. We treat it as a civil offense. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah, I remember the idiot I used to deal with earlier today that never trumps the Republican actually brought that up about we're decriminalizing illegal entry. No, you fucking liar.
No, guys, exactly my point. As of right now, it's a federal offense to cross the border. What Julian Castro said is that we need to make it a civil offense, and I agree with that because it's bullshit that we jail people who do that while we leave people on Wall Street untouched. That's the bullshit when it comes to that. So I agree with him on immigration. So yes, the corporate Democrat economic policy, and you can shut on him all day, but on immigration, he was the best person on that stage. And Timbo, would you agree with that? Tim?
Did he say anything else on immigration besides that though?
No, that and that we should give like old dreamers
pathway
like
citizenship
because right now they don't have that. So like on that stage he was the best person on immigration because it was his front and center thing. And obviously maybe even better than Tulsi because Tulsi, she's somewhat socially conservative. No, not that much, but I'm just saying you got to give credit where credit is due, Tim. So on immigration, he was spot on, and we should do what he says because it's the right thing to do. Because right now, what we have right now is bullshit. If you think about it, so.
Well, of course it is bullshit, and from what you made it sound, I support them, but I don't know any of the other policies of anyone else on immigration, so I have to be pretty much quiet on that. I don't want to make a fool of myself or say something incorrect. So let's get back onto the video.
Zingers. You didn't carve a path for yourself as the person who's all about X, fill in the blank, whatever X may be. No, you just kind of talked a lot and didn't hurt yourself, but didn't really help yourself. And even though they performed in a solid way and in a smooth way, it just wasn't enough for me to walk away going, oh, wow, did they do well? Again, they didn't hurt themselves, but, I don't think they helped themselves too much. Is it possible that one of them or both of them gets a slight bump out of this debate? Sure. But is it possible that they've launched themselves into the conversation among the real leaders in this race? I don't think that's the case yet. I could be wrong, but that's my sense of it. Okay, now the biggest winners. First and foremost, I'm going to go Tulsi. I will say this though, she started very slow. And in fact, if you asked me halfway through the debate, I would have said flat out, she's not doing well. I said going into the debate, she had to be aggressive. She was not aggressive for at least half the debate. And when you're polling at 1%, you have to be aggressive. You have to make a name for yourself. You have to, carve a path as somebody who belongs in the conversation about who should really become the Democratic presidential nominee. Now, having said that, even though she started slow, she ended super strong, really strong. She absolutely obliterated Tim Ryan on the issue of Afghanistan to the point where I think it almost makes up for the fact that she started super slow. That's almost totally forgotten because she was swinging a hatchet at his face and everybody noticed. And
I probably have a good idea why it may be the case because foreign policy is her main issue. So when she got into something that's her important bread and butter, she was going to excel in that regard. Don't you all think?
Yes, I agree on that.
I agree with that. Obviously, she's the best on foreign policy. But the reason she starts kind of slow is also because she's Hawaiian and Hawaiians really talk really slow and stuff, and they're not aggressive at all. Unlike other people from other states, so that has to do with their personality. It's not good because no Timbo, Hawaiians are so fucking chill, which is good in a way, but also not because when it comes to debating, they're not gonna push you when you compare to other people.
Well, did you see what she did when it came to Afghanistan though? I think Tim Ryan would beg to differ on that one. She owned his ass.
Punted him. She absolutely obliterated Tim Ryan. And then Tim Ryan tries to smear her back, and he gets ratioed on Twitter.
That probably single-handedly destroyed his campaign, what she did. Just like Kamala destroyed Biden probably single-handedly, which we're going to get to later. Oh, that was awesome.
And also, there are some metrics to say that she did well in the debate because all the snap polls happening after the debate had Tulsi winning. I'll show you one of those in a little bit. But also...
Oh, yeah, now I think with didn't Kyle or someone say, they, according to the polls, Tulsi won that first debate? Did anybody see anything about that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think I heard Kyle say that earlier today on that poll video.
So she was the number one searched candidate of all the candidates on stage. So, that's a big deal. It shows people are interested. Ooh, who's this? What's she saying? So I think she did great on the issue of war. I would advise her moving forward, though, you can't start slow anymore in these debates. You have to come out hard. You have to come out swinging and be aggressive. And what you did with Tim Ryan on the issue of Afghanistan, you have to do with every issue, not just...
The problem, though, is that's just not her main strength, though. Foreign policy is her main focus, so it's kind of difficult to expect her to be good on that.
Just war, but wreck that lefty position on every issue, and don't be afraid to slap around the media a little bit, because they smear Tulsi all the time, and she doesn't really respond in a way that I think makes sense to kind of put them in their place and reframe everything. So I would tell Tulsi, be a little meaner, be a little more aggressive, assert yourself more. Now, the other big winners, Elizabeth Warren. That's slightly overstating it to say she's a big winner, but here's the deal. Of those candidates on stage, she was leading the polls of those candidates on stage. So in a way, she could get away with protecting that lead a little bit, and she did exactly that. It was a very solid available.
Oh, and Harry, before I continue on, remember you said earlier about she did really well on Medicare for All that you told me the other day?
No, yeah, I said that because I watched the debate live, and she was the only person on that stage who said I'm with Bernie on healthcare, which is why I support Medicare for All. And before that, Timbo, I know she didn't say it because she was like she was a little weak and careful, but on the first debate, she finally said she's for Medicare for All. Now, is it true? Is she gonna fight for it? I don't know, but she was the only person on that stage who said I'm with Bernie on healthcare, which is why I support Medicare for All. That was about it.
Because Kyle actually kind of disagreed with you when you thought she actually did good, and you're going to hear in a second.
Very solid performance. She didn't say any one thing that made me go, oh, she knocked it out of the park. But at the same time, she didn't say anything at all that made me go, oh, that's a bad answer, and Liz is hurting herself there. So, yeah, I think she did a good job. I think she did a solid job. I think that a criticism of her that's fair is she still leaned a little too much on the wonky side and the technocratic side and not enough on the side of like a swashbuckling populist. But having said that, that is who Elizabeth Warren is. She is a wonky technocrat. She's not as much of a Bernie Sanders-style swashbuckling populist. But certainly she's not going to slip in the polls after this. At worst, she'll stay the same, but I think at best she might actually bump up a little bit because she did, and I hate to use this term because I personally don't care about this man.
Huh? Turned out Brent actually gained a couple of points.
Yeah.
Patrick, but she did come across as presidential, and are there some people who are going to want that kind of politician in the age of Trump? Sure. People are going to want temperamentally that kind of a break from Trump. Now, substantively, and that's what matters most, the policy substance is what matters the most. But she did kind of plant her flag as, yes, I'm going to rep a lefty position. You're not going to see me, sprint to the center. Medicare for All was an interesting topic where she said, I agree with Bernie Sanders, but the details of the question on that was really sketchy. We're going to get to that later, and I'll talk about that in detail.
Really?
But she was one of the biggest winners because she just did no damage, and when you're leading, just doing no damage is actually fine, and she was leading of the candidates on stage. So Tulsi, Elizabeth Warren, these are two big winners. And the final big winner, Bill de Blasio. Now, I am patting myself on the back massively because I called this in my, debate breakdown video, my pre-debate breakdown video. I said that of these candidates on stage, I want Tulsi to do well, and I want Elizabeth Warren to do well, and I said Tulsi's got to be aggressive, and I said Bill de Blasio is probably going to surprise some people because when he ran for New York City mayor, he ran as a super far lefty, and he was not playing around. Now, of course, I contend that Bill de Blasio is kind of a fraud because in 2016, he backed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders in the primary, which is just insanity. You can't pretend like you're this super far lefty and you back the most establishment candidate.
And you know what's funny about Kyle bringing up? I actually remember watching a video of him. He actually kind of defended him somewhat for saying that. If y'all don't remember that, or something of the sort. I'll look that up later.
No, Tim. Tim, I don't know if he defended Bill de Blasio for endorsing Hillary or Bernie.
He didn't attack him the same way he attacked it like others, though. He was a lot more nicer in comparison. I had to watch that video again.
No, you're right, but that's because Tim, that's because Bill de Blasio, he actually did implement some progressive policies in New York City. That's why he didn't attack him. But the thing is, Tim, I agree with Kyle when he says that Bill de Blasio might be a fraud. Why? Because obviously because he endorsed Hillary over Bernie. But the thing is, Tim, you know why he did that though? Obviously I
already know.
Disagree.
Same reason Warren didn't, because he wanted better access and better chances of influence.
Exactly. Not only that, but if he endorsed Bernie over Hillary, you do realize that Hillary, because she's literally a total bitch, she would have cut federal funding to New York City. He didn't want that. So that's why.
That would be pretty bad if she actually did that. That would definitely look good.
Wait, Timbo, are you fucking kidding me? Hillary, she's an egotistical bitch. She would have done that. That's why he endorsed. No, that's why, Tim, you can't really blame him for endorsing Hillary over Bernie, because if he endorsed Bernie, she would have cut federal funds to New York City. And trust me, that would shit on our economy.
That would hurt her so massively, though. At the same time, remember.
Say it again?
That would hurt her massively at the same time, though.
No, it would, but it would. But New York City is overwhelmingly Democratic, so they're still gonna vote for a Democrat. So it doesn't really count, Timbo. So on that you might be wrong. So yeah.
I know one thing, sure. If I was in position, I would vote Bernie. Endorse Bernie no matter what.
Of all time.
Actually,
but he did yet again do that.
Continue. Actually, Tim, if I were Bill de Blasio, or if I were New York City's mayor at the time, I would stay out of it because I believe that's the best approach.
Because that's what Elizabeth Warren did. Yeah. She stayed out completely.
Until
but then
she eventually endorsed Hillary before I think it was the after Massachusetts primary or whatever. Kyle covered it, remember?
Wait, Tim. So the Elizabeth Warren eventually endorsed Hillary in the primary, or?
I think.
Oh yeah, exactly my point. Me, if I were Bill de Blasio or New York City's mayor at the time, New York City's progressive mayor, I would have been nope, I'm not going to endorse anyone because I don't want this egotistical bitch funding my city. So, and even though I like Bernie, I'm going to stay out of it and not comment about it. If the media asks me, I'm going to tell them to fuck off. Yeah, that's my take because I don't want to risk anything. So wait, Tim. So don't you think my approach makes kind of sense? With the funding, Tim?
I just wouldn't agree. I'm gonna endorse him no matter what. I don't give a shit what
Tim,
people think.
no, but if you were him though, your city would would not get funding, so you wouldn't want that. Trust me. So
I would criticize her. Well, first off, she lost either way, remember, so it wouldn't have made much of a difference. And second of all, I would attack her immensely if she did that. I'm gonna stick by my principles no matter what. That's just
convincing tap dance of yeah, I'm a candidate that's viable and I'm a force to be reckoned with. And I think he definitely helped himself here. I think he definitely gave himself a little bit of a bump. He had one answer that was super cringeworthy on the biggest threats of the country. He said Russia, and it was just gross.
Oh, I remember that.
But virtually
too.
everything
That
else he
was
said
funny.
was solid, and he's a good debater, and he's a strong speaker, and I think he helped himself out. So that's my general debate
US
breakdown.
is the biggest threat to world peace.
Yep. There's actually two things I say are the biggest threat to America. One, ourselves, and two, climate change, which is a threat to, of course, everyone.
I'm sure there's going to be agreement and disagreement among you guys. A lot of people are convinced that Castro did really well.
We all got to say about his first video.
Pretty accurate.
Yep. All right, let's go to the actual debate with Bernie and all and see what we had to say about that. It's 17 minutes.
So last night was the second part of the first Democratic debate. The candidates over my left shoulder were the ones who participated in this debate. We have Joe Biden, Andrew Yang, Kamala Harris, Michael Bennett, Pete Buttigieg, Marianne Williamson, Eric Swalwell, John Hickenlooper, Bernie Sanders, and Kirsten Gillibrand. I did not like this debate as much as the first one. I'm not sure I liked the first debate at all, but I definitely disliked this one more because it was just really annoying. It was sloppier. People were talking over each other. The questions were also shitty, just like, the debate that happened the night before. But just overall, it felt sloppier to me. Now, I want to give you the winners and the losers and the people who were neither winners nor losers. They just kind of were there, and they didn't help themselves or hurt themselves. First, let's go to the losers. I would say Mike Bennett is a loser because he was all over the place in terms of the arguments he was making. He made some points that were really shitty and centrist and dumb, going after Bernie on Medicare for All, that he fell massively flat there. But then he also kind of clipped Joe Biden on a tax deal that he had made with Mitch McConnell when Joe Biden tried to say it was a good deal. That was his only good moment, Bennett's only good moment. Overall, he honestly just sounds like a reformed frat boy. he seemed like a fish out of water, and he doesn't really have much appeal. He's wasting his time. He went nowhere in this debate, and he'll probably have to drop out soon. I retract that. I don't know how long these people are going to stay in, but it's going to be clear that a lot of them have zero chance very soon. Another loser, and this one I'm really saddened by, particularly because I made the bold prediction that he would perform well, and he would perform so well that he would get a bump in the polls. Andrew Yang. Oh, yeah. He did not perform well at all. Now, Andrew Yang today has come out and said...
He did he did UBI for literally everything from what I heard or something like that. Is that true, Harry?
The thing I'm saying is we now know which progressive candidate is going to be the first to drop out, and it's going to be Andrew Yang.
Wow. Bryce, that might be true, Bryce. And Tim, actually, that's right. I feel like when I watched the debate, he mostly talked about UBI. Yeah, I don't really hear him comment on it. Yeah, no, it's his. Wait, Tim, I agree. People pick their issue, but Tim, in my opinion, even Tulsi, if you're progressive, you should be well-rounded in all issues. Don't you think?
Yeah, of course. Tim? Yeah, of course, but we can't help it. That's her main issue, a focus. I mean, I even saw he even tried to say UBI will help combat climate change too. Seriously, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's a weird one. Yeah. That was one I found weird, very weird.
Yeah.
Literally had my mic cut off for most of the night, so the reason you heard from me the least.
And also, I would not be surprised if that is indeed true. If they probably try to fuck him over, we all gotta say about that.
From what I've heard, that thing's actually true.
That his mic was cut off a lot or whatever.
Yeah, for half the debate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that to him, fucked him over.
Is because when I was trying to interject, nobody could hear me because my mic was off. That's what he's claiming today. Is that true? I have no idea. But what I do know is, mic on or off, even the few times that he spoke, he didn't do well. So this was a disastrously wrong prediction from yours truly, and now I'm owning up to it. He was definitely one of the losers of the night. Then we have the breakfast cereal, John Hickenlooper. He was exactly as expected. He was really boring and awkward with his weird smile. It took him a long time to say things.
That's all the breakfast cereal can do.
Remember when we talked about climate change? Oh, that was so funny, you idiot! And then Kyle ripped him a new one.
They were really terrible because they were saying what we can't do, not what we can do, and they tried to brag about his own record as the governor of Colorado, and he said dumb shit like, we had almost near universal health coverage because of me. bragging about near universal health coverage is not something to brag about, because what you're saying is I couldn't get everybody covered. Like, all the people that are not covered, kind of important. So, I mean, you could argue now in the U.S., I mean, we almost have universal health coverage. What? There are like 30 million or 40 million people who are uninsured, but there's like 330 million people in the country. So we're near universal coverage. That's not a good point, dude. You look like a dickhead because you are. So Hickenlooper shit the bed. Then here are the two biggest losers in my opinion.
Oh, here we go.
Eric Swalwell is one of the top losers, because oh my god, he definitely has like this really high opinion of himself, and he thinks he's gonna make a run at this thing. But every time he spoke, I was cringing. He's really hokey and he's really corny, and he's not very personable. And he had these like really overly planned out one-liners that he tried to plant throughout the night, and it was so obvious that they were planted. And he had this look on his face after he said them like he nailed it, but the audience was like, not so much there, fella. One of them was, we're gonna break up with Russia and get back with NATO.
As a matter of fact, I think I even remember,
What the fuck?
I remember, oh my god, before I say anything, you guys see Kyle's face here? Holy shit! Look at Kyle's face right here, this is too funny!
That is amazing! That is amazing!
Oh god, Kyle, that is awesome!
That is. Love it, love it, love it.
Yep. We love you, Kyle, but we gotta make fun of you too once in a while. Well,
yep.
Now as I was saying, I think it was what was his name? Thomas Sowell. What was his name again?
Eric Swalwell?
Yeah.
Eric Swalwell.
Michael Tracy actually, I think he actually interviewed him on Twitter like a week or so ago before the debate, and it was like a 10-minute interview where he basically said, yeah, he wants to restart the Cold War because he's a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Oh my god, so fucking idiot. Thank God you're gonna go nowhere. Now let's get back to the video. Oh, that face he made.
And everybody's like, So he was one of the biggest losers. And then the biggest loser, by far and away, was Joe Biden. He got his ass handed to him on a silver platter. He was just owned repeatedly over and over and over. Bernie owned him. Kamala owned him. And even Michael Bennett, frat boy Michael Bennett owned him.
That's going to be like her...
Epic. That was epic.
I never remember when he admitted, basically, he said, I'm not for segregation. I was for segregation or something or whatever, remember? That was so cringy. That was hilarious. And then he cut himself off to, remember? Enjoy that 10-point loss in the polls. Because once you're gone, then Kamala's going to have to go next.
And that is so sad. In between watching Animal House and American Psycho, which are Michael Bennett's two favorite movies, he owned Joe Biden.
So great.
When you get owned by Michael Bennett, come on, son, wrap it up. So Biden was the biggest loser. So much so to the point that I will declare it right now, Biden's candidacy is over.
Yeah,
it's dead in the water.
We all think he's done.
Yep.
That was such a humiliation. Hey, we gotta give a big round of applause for Kamala single-handedly destroying Biden's campaign, but now we gotta take you out next.
Yep.
That was so funny. Hey, at least hey, just like Trump, she gave us at least one good moment where we all can like her for that moment. That was awesome.
He will not recover from this. And what did I tell you in advance? I told you that Joe Biden is a very good debater one-on-one with Republicans. Why did I say that? He eviscerated Sarah Palin, and he eviscerated Paul Ryan in legendary fashion. But what else did I tell you? He's not good in Democratic primary debates. Why? He's run 36 times prior to this to try to become president, and he lost every time, and he didn't even do well in any of the primaries. He was considered a favorite going to almost all the races that he was in, and then he flamed out super quickly. So when you put him on stage, and he's like a milquetoast centrist from the 1980s, and he's surrounded by monsters, he's going to get eaten alive, and he can't defend his long-ass record because there's a lot of sketchy shit in his record. I like how one of the candidates, I forget who it was, brought up that, Biden and Obama were responsible for deporting 3 million people, and he had no response. He just couldn't respond. He looked like a deer in headlights. He was like, because he was just finished talking about, saying something positive about immigrants or whatever. And somebody pounced, and he was like,
that's a big burn right there.
Fuck, why am I up here? It looked like he was past his bedtime all night. So definitely the biggest loser.
And then when Bernie crushed him on the Iraq War, remember? Oh, God, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Who didn't help themselves or hurt themselves. Now, I have feelings on how these people did, but I don't think that they're going to go in either direction in the polls. Marianne Williamson, nobody knew who the fuck she was going into the debate. Now, everybody knows who she is, but she's more of a meme than anything else.
Yeah, seriously, who the hell is she? I never even knew about her until Kyle just covered her the other day or something. How is she in
Same thing.
How the hell is she in the Democratic primaries? No one probably even knows who she is.
She seems like, like an old school
What are we
hippie.
talking about again?
Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, who even knows who she is? Even us political junkies didn't even know who she was until this debate, and we're gonna forget about her soon after.
Who made her way on the presidential stage, and she says stuff like,
I already had to that point.
Yep.
Love, bro. The only thing that can drive out love is hate. Or excuse me, the only thing that can drive out hate is love. And I'm here to bring love. And then, she was talking about, we don't just need healthcare plans, we need wellness plans or some shit. Talking about how the only problem isn't just our healthcare system, it's also the food system, it's also the chemicals. I feel like she was this close to throwing some anti-vax shit out there in the middle of the debate. Character. Every now and then she says something that makes sense. By and large, she just strikes me as like a very...
Fuck down, Timbo. Theories on both sides. The whole, I don't like them putting chemicals in the water to turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, that was funny as shit.
Hippy-dippy kind of character. And she has no chance. She has absolutely no chance. But at least now people... They know her now, and she made a lot of people laugh, and she made a lot of people smile. So I don't think she really hurt herself because she was already at like 1% anyway. So she'll probably just remain at 1%, and now people will just be more amused by her and happy that they know who she is. And then we have Kirsten Gillibrand. I don't think helped herself or hurt herself. Now at the beginning of the debate, I would have said for sure she's hurting herself. Why? Because she was the queen of interrupting through that debate. She would try to jump in time and time again, and it would always be awkward, and it would always sound desperate. And like every time she talked, she sounded desperate. Now the reason why, though, ultimately, I don't think she hurt herself is because towards the end of the debate, when she kind of calmed down on the interrupting, and she actually started, saying stuff, she made sense. She said things that were perfectly reasonable. Now, is she a faker? Yes. She absolutely is a faker. Her record is very centrist, almost across the board. But she tried to portray herself as more of the Bernie Sanders variety and from the Bernie Sanders wing. And when she actually calmed down and stopped interrupting people, she said a few things that were like, oh, wow.
She's trying to pull Kamala Harris and a couple of the others. The thing is, the only one who even has a chance of doing it is Kamala.
Yeah.
It's a good point. She kept bringing up corruption, for example.
Scary.
She talked about her plan on paid family leave, for example. I think she was the only one on stage to bring that up. And she talked about how her record is literally the most anti-Trump of everybody on stage, which, by the way, that's actually true. She made a point of like voting against every single appointment in his administration and stuff like that. So while she was very annoying and she was interrupting people nonstop early on.
What?
Yeah, I agree, Bryce. Yeah.
What'd you say?
That's a credit that she did vote against literally every single Trump appointee.
As you should. Yeah. As you should. Wait, Timbo, as you should though, because like if you voted for at least one of Trump's picks, you're a fucking moron and a corporatist and a warmonger and a basically a bigot. So yeah.
By the end, she sort of redeemed herself, so I don't think she hurt herself or helped herself. She's just kind of coasting here. Now, she needs to help herself because she's so low in the polls, but she didn't do that, but I don't think she hurt herself. Again, this is all just my opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt. I'm sure many of you disagree with my overall breakdown here. Now, let's get to the winners. The first winner, Buttigieg. Now, I don't like Pete Buttigieg. In fact, I despise Pete Buttigieg. That was one of my tweets last night. I was like, I can't stand this guy. He's such a fucking fake
booty judge.
Bullshitting politician who's playing the role right now. He's doing his own Obama impersonation. That's the only reason he's on stage. And by the way, Buttigieg does a much better Obama impersonation than Beto. Beto is useless. Beto's done. Beto imploded last night. Buttigieg is hanging in there with his fake Obama impression. Because every now and then he says some stuff that I know because I can tap into the mind of like the relatively apolitical centrist voter who doesn't know that much. And they would look at a guy like Buttigieg and go, oh, he seems very presidential and very well put together.
Yeah, you know what's pretty bad? Oh, look at this face! Ah, not as funny as the last one.
Probably good. I gotta see this.
Oh, look at this face. This is not as good, though, but still pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's an awesome one. Okay, something else I want to say. When it comes to Mayor Pete, it'd be funny if he actually turned out to be president. The meltdown from the evangelical right, with him being the first gay president, would be amazing. They're already melting down just him running for president.
But vlog, Obama was a gay Muslim Kenyan socialist. What are you talking about, first gay president? That reminds me too what Kyle bring about being like all presidential. Oh god, even my parents fall for his crap. Same goes for Kamala too, and it's really pathetic.
Together. Yeah. So if you're one of those voters who's inclined to just look at surface bullshit, you're gonna like Buttigieg. And I think that there are enough people who fit that description to say that Buttigieg is still kind of in this race. He kind of has forced himself to be taken seriously. Again, even though I despise him with a burning passion. He's doing his little tap dance of like kind of repping centrism, but putting enough of a veneer of faux progressivism over it where he's not like totally imploded. So I think he did perform well in this debate. Again, I know some people disagree with me.
Kind of like what Obama did.
I always try my best to kind of get outside of
what Obama does.
What?
So Buttigieg is also probably trying to run as a Bernie type.
Yep.
Get outside of just my own narrow perspective and try to see what I think certain kinds of voters would think of this guy. And I'll tell you what, for every person who hates him out there, there's somebody who likes him. So I think he did pretty well in this debate, unfortunately, because oftentimes he says nothing of substance. Now, the next winner is Bernie. However, Bernie did not spike the football in the end zone. You know, he pulled a Tulsi a little bit here. And what I mean by that is just like with Tulsi Gabbard yesterday, Tulsi started super slow, and then she picked it up by the end. That is pretty much exactly what happened with Bernie. I don't think he was doing well through like half the debate. I was not impressed. He didn't really plant his flag and say, I'm here, I'm the force to be reckoned with, here's why. And he wasn't really aggressive, and he wasn't really hitting his stride where he kind of fires off his talking points, which get the rabid applause and whatnot. So I don't think he was doing well for the first half of the debate. Now, thank goodness, towards the end of the debate, he put the burners on, and he went to work, and he was burning. And he obliterated Joe Biden on foreign policy. But Bernie's best moment of the night was actually his closing statement. Because in his closing statement, he really let everybody know what's up. And he was like, listen, all these people on stage, they're good people, they're lovely people, I like them. But you gotta ask yourself a question. Why is it that every time there's standard politicians in front of you and they make these promises, nothing ever changes? Well, it's time for the real change. It's time for the political revolution. I'm the only guy who's going to take on Wall Street. I'm the only guy who's going to take on the military-industrial complex. I'm the only one who's really going to stand up to these powerful forces. So by the end, I was like, yes, get him, Bernie. And you just have to hope that everybody who's watching the debate was hanging in there till the end. Because if they just watched the first half, they'll think Bernie got obliterated. So overall, he is a winner, but it's not a Mortal Kombat flawless victory. I wish it was. I wish I could give you guys that news right now, but I can't give you that news right now. Now, I think the biggest winner of the night, and it pains me to say this, but it really struck me as the case. Even though I don't like her, Kamala Harris won. Because Kamala Harris,
the main threat
all
now.
night, was on her game. She commanded attention in a way.
Definitely.
And like we said, Kamala, thank you for taking Biden down, but guess what? Now we got to take you down next, and whoever comes up after you.
Yep, she's the next one.
Yep. Oh.
She's the next one, and then we can turn on Booty Judge and finish him off.
And then eventually you'll probably be down to just Bernie and Warren. And sorry, Warren, you're gonna have to go too.
That was impressive.
Tim,
there was one moment where there was a lot
Tim,
of like
I agree. We have to take them down next, one by one. But obviously, at this point, because I'm leaving, New York, it's not gonna affect me as president anyway. So.
Well, you still could vote in the prime. You still could vote in the general, though. Remember?
Well, actually, it was due to the U.S. having such an effect on foreign policy across the entire planet.
You should.
No, Bryce, I agree. It does, but I'm just saying, like, if I were to stay in America forever, I'd be pushing hard for Bernie. But now that I'm leaving, it wouldn't even affect me even if we have like a corporate Democrat as president after Trump. So I'm just saying. But I agree. Of course, if I wanted Bernie to win, I'm just saying it's not gonna affect me as much anymore because I'm leaving. So there's that.
You roughly made the same argument for me in Australia, but I know they affect me.
Yeah.
No, actually, Bryce, domestic policy does not affect. No, Bryce, I agree.
No, things like trade though, that could have easily affect Cyprus. It affects Australia, especially the stupid tariffs that Trump keep doing. Because if China can't send it to the US. Who are they sending it to? Australia.
No, Bryce, I agree. Apparently, foreign policy affects the whole world, and the U.S. trade policy affects Australia. But I'm just saying, Bryce, U.S. domestic policy does not affect Australia or Cyprus or any other country. So what I'm saying is, yes, I still want Bernie to win. Obviously, we got to take down every single one of them. I'm just saying, now that I'm leaving, I'm just saying, even if there's a corporate Democrat that beats Trump. It won't affect me, but I agree, Tim, that we should fight as hard as we can to make sure Bernie wins the nomination. I assume you agree with that, Tim.
I guess they gotta fight to get him in, and besides, you should still be able to vote in the general since you're an American citizen.
No, in the general, yes, obviously I can, but in the primary, I'm not sure yet. I have to look it up when I go there. So there's that, I guess, yeah.
So hopefully Bernie gets to the primary. I mean, for the primary and in general, you can still vote for him.
No, Gerald, obviously I would. I wanted this whole time. If anything, I'm pretty sure I like Bernie more than you, Timbo. So of course I vote for him in the general. But
happening all over the place. It really was a mess. But there were a few instances where Kamala would interject at just the right moment. Her timing was perfect all night. She would interject at just the right moment and be like, the American people don't want to see a food fight. They want to hear how we're going to put food on their tables, which is an overplanned line, and I hear you on that. But it was delivered properly. We got a big applause in the audience, and this was the whole night. She tried to basically come across as I'm the adult in the room, but also I'm actually going to pretend like I'm like Bernie Sanders, which she did. She clearly is doing what Kirsten Gillibrand is doing. Listen, there's a bunch of different kinds of politicians. Some of the politicians are so stupid, like Hickenlooper, that he actually thinks centrism will win, and John Delaney, centrism is wonderful. They are so dead and gone and irrelevant that it's laughable.
He's as dumb as a breakfast cereal.
But they're smart enough to lie and act like they're like Bernie because it's a populist anti-establishment era. Kamala Harris is doing that. She's walking that tightrope. She's acting like she's super progressive, and while she is a centrist, her record is very centrist, and she just did a great job. Honestly, the moment that everybody's talking about today, and they will continue to talk about from this debate, is when Kamala Harris ended Joe Biden's career.
Yep, that was
She
awesome.
ended his campaign, 100%.
Yep, pretty much.
It happened because he worked with
so
segregationists
funny.
and bragged about working with segregationists. And she basically came out and said, you work with segregationists. And by the way, at the time, I was part of the second class to be desegregated where I was in California or something like that. And, it personally affected me. And the way she delivered it was just, everybody was like, damn, he's fallen and he can't get up. So
when I edit this video together, I'm gonna go find that clip when I put this video together of where he basically said, I wasn't for segregationists. I was supporting segregation in local counties or something or whatever. It was so terrible. It made me bust out laughing of him not realizing what he was saying.
I really think she won. She tried to sound progressive, tried to sound like Bernie.
I'm not for segregation. I'm just for segregation.
Hey, just like good old later on when we get to it, I'm not racist. I'm a waste wheelless. Remember that?
Distinguishing herself from Bernie. So I don't believe her.
I'm not
I think she's a
racist.
centrist,
I'm just racist.
Performance. And I'm going to keep it real with you guys. As of right now, I'm a little shook. Because I think the race has been narrowed down quite a bit. I think that we're really having a conversation now about between Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, and maybe at the fringes, Buttigieg, and then maybe one other, okay? But really, I think Kamala is the one who's going to make the strongest run at this thing. And if you're a Bernie person, we need to do everything we can to recognize that threat and fight back politically accordingly. So that's my breakdown of this debate. There were some surprises. Like I said, Yang did a lot worse than expected, although he said he didn't like the
bring
stuff.
up her record about imprisoning minorities for truancy.
Yeah, even my mother didn't even know about that crap until I just told her about that earlier today. Oh, God.
Shitty as expected. Swalwell was the second worst. Biden was the worst.
What'd you say?
Okay.
Harry?
Hmm?
What'd you say?
I know, sorry, someone was telling me something. Yeah.
Alright, so let's make this really quick. What Kyle thought about the he was talking about the polls, I think it was in this video. Let's see, is that it? Yeah. Biden support plummets after first debate. Let's speed it up. Here we go.
So I want to give everybody a little bit of an update on the polls after the first Democratic debate.
He just uploaded today too.
So Waleed Shahid tweeted this, but he's doing it. He's released numbers that were from 538. So he's just talking about the findings from 538. And here's what we know: after the debates, Biden has dropped 10 points.
Yeah, wow. 10-point drop.
Warren is up 2 points. Bernie is up 3 points, and Kamala is up 8 points. Now, Kamala is stealing from Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden, not from Bernie. So that's good, because that was one of the concerns watching the debate.
That's actually a good sign if y'all didn't hear. Kamala gained 8 points, but according to this poll, most of it came from Biden and Warren, actually, not Bernie. So that's good to know. That Bernie.
Yeah. So Bernie's held his support and even boosted it a few percent.
Yep, that's good.
Is that she was trying to sound kind of like Bernie. And when you try to sound kind of like Bernie, you get afraid that maybe some of Bernie's supporters, the ones who might not know.
Hey, you know what? If you think about it, if she takes support from Warren away, that might weaken her too in that regard. So that's one less thing we have to worry about once we take Kamala down. One less opponent for Bernie.
The details of Kamala Harris's career, that they might be fooled by that. But no, it turns out that that's not the case. Kamala is more likely to pull from Biden and more likely to pull from Warren. Certainly makes sense pulling from Biden because policy-wise, she is more centrist. These are the biggest moves from the debate. Now, Julian Castro and Cory Booker didn't have abysmal debates. Take that for what it's worth. Tulsi Gabbard didn't have a bad debate either. After the debate, she won in most of the snap polls after the first night of the debate, which was she was on stage. Earlier. So I do think that there's still some other characters involved in the race, but we are starting to narrow it down. John Hickenlooper is done. John Delaney's done. Tim Ryan is done. So many of these characters are just
question is how long will before Biden drops out.
Really, what we're talking about is the major characters.
Yeah, I bet he'll probably wait till the first primary itself.
Characters will be Biden, who's plummeting, and I think will continue to plummet.
I think he'd probably drop out once he sees that he's hurting Kamala.
Warren, Bernie, Kamala, and then maybe you could sprinkle in a few others like Mayor Pete. Maybe you could throw hanging on for dear life there is Tulsi. But really, the big players, the ones that are most likely to go down to the wire here, are going to be Biden, Warren, Bernie, Kamala, Mayor Pete on the fringes, and then maybe one other hanging on. So we're basically, I think we're kind of already down to 6.
Even though I said he'd probably make it to the first primary, I would be surprised if he drops out even before then, even. Because that was... He's lost I think he's lost 30 points or something total ever since he announced. It's a really, really bad implosion. Even I didn't expect this bad of an implosion. Yeah. I thought he was going to be the actual main threat to Bernie. Now it's no longer even really the case. Now Kamala's the main threat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because there were some people who just...
But hey, that's what happens when we find out dirt about you in the last 3 months, and then you shove your foot directly in your mouth in the first debate.
They thought this was going to be their big breakthrough. Yeah. Imagine being Eric Swalwell. It's if only people get to hear me talk for an extended period of time, they'll like me. And then he goes out there.
No. If people heard you more, you would actually lose support just like Biden did.
And then he doesn't budge at all the polls. I find that funny, but also incredibly refreshing because it shows you that, my political instincts are still on point in the sense that I saw that coming from a mile away. Doesn't matter how often, Swalwell's face gets in front of the American people, they're not going to like him. It almost makes you wonder how he ever won any election to begin with.
Yeah,
so, but I think that's what
masses for I'd say.
Yeah, I think Kyle even said before, or maybe it was Mike or whatever, once these people, like, shove their foot directly in their mouth, they might actually be done politically, too, for, like, Congress or Senate. They might be gone because they got so owned or whatever.
Talking about now, I think we're already down to, like, 6. I'm curious to see when people will start dropping like flies.
They're going to be dropping like flies very soon.
People stay in, like, all the way until the Iowa caucus.
Yeah, the field's going to half within half very quickly. At least.
How much you want bet it'll be half? How much you want bet it'll be half by the first primary? So like 6 months from now.
Probably.
Because I think I remember
half would be a good guide to go for.
Yeah, remember when the Republican debate last year was like 17 of them, like 3 or 4 of them dropped out before even the first primary.
Yeah, even with the Democratic primary, there were like 2 that dropped out before the start, and then like O'Malley made like I think 1 or 2 primaries, and then he dropped out.
Because it's such an abysmal performance, such an abysmal showing, that yes, even in the smaller market in a congressional district, people start to go, why did anybody vote for this person to begin with? So there's going to be a lot of face saving coming. Maybe a lot of these characters will stick around for a few more debates, but if you don't see some budging happening, then I will be stunned at that. So anyway, this is kind of expected. I told you Biden shit the bed. Oh boy, did he ever shit the bed. I told you Warren had a decent night, but what?
How much you all are surprised how much he shot the bed? Even I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Like 20 to 30 point loss in like 30. Oh my god, that is embarrassing. But hey, good for Bernie. One less opponent to deal with.
Yep.
But now we got to get rid of Kamala next. And all of them too.
Yes.
I don't think there's really anything left Kyle to talk about in this video. Although this face, not as funny, but it's still kind of funny though. Let me go post it. Here we go.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's another good one.
They're not going to beat the first one, though. That was funny as shit. I think we probably should.
The first one was awesome.
All right, I think we might end off here in Kyle's videos about the debates. We all got to say about it so far. Let's get like really quick so we can get to like the next part of the video. We all got to say.
Bernie won. Kamala Harris won. Warren won. Tulsi sort of won. Hickenlooper's done. Klobuchar's now. Breakfast cereal's done. Cloud Bootjar's done. Beta O'Dork's done.
Biden is dead. Oh, that
and there are
so
a few others who are done as well.
Harry, what do you got to say? Since you actually watched the entire debates.
And
don't forget to make it like within a minute.
Say again.
And whatever you say, make it like a sentence or two, like Vlog did.
Okay. Basically, I agree with Bryce. But I would also add that, believe it or not, I feel like Bet on My Stork actually did slightly better than John Delaney, only because John Delaney he like spewed more of that centrist bullshit than Bet on My Stork did. So because as you know, even Kyle says John Delaney, I just believe he's like more insufferable, like compared to like Bet on My Stork. So I would argue that he did worse than Bet on My Stork, even though he also did pretty bad. And basically, Bernie did as great as I thought he did. And de Blasio sounded really progressive, even though, he's no Bernie Sanders. So I guess that's my take on the debates. And of course, what Bryce said and that Julian Castro's immigration, policies were pretty good. That's about it, yeah.
All right, so now that we've done watching debates, now we're going to get into one of the topics. This might actually be the final topic of the video because it might take the rest of the entire video, so we might have to save the religious fundamentalism, unfortunately, for next time, which is going to suck, but hey, it'll be very funny. So yeah. I think to wrap up, we'll talk about foreign policy. Now, we've already talked about this like 2 weeks ago, so we'll probably pretty much like make it as quick as possible since we already pretty much agreed on everything, if I remember correctly. The first part of the foreign policy thing, we were going to talk about the hot spots in the world, which there are 5 of them right now, which was Venezuela, Ukraine, Syria, Iran, and North Korea. Now, when we first did this video, it was mainly about Iran to start off with because that's when the drone shit just happened, of course. For all you know, because I think we actually did the video literally a day after a few days after we shot down.
Literally the day after.
Yeah, for all of you, I'm sure now everyone knows after weeks, we had a drone that was shot down in international waters, although none of us agreed on that, right? Because for all
probably, it was almost certainly shot down in Iranian territory.
Yeah, because remember, guys, like the first 100 miles out on the water, that's still your territory. Now, of course, the Strait of Hormuz is much smaller, but like a few miles off Iran's coast, that's still part of territory. And of course, the drone also didn't have its thing that lets you know,
which is very suspicious.
Yeah, for all of you who don't know, the drone has like a I don't know how to describe it, but like a responder or something that lets you know it's in the air and was turned off. So it makes it very fucking suspicious about that happening, especially since we all know how crazy the batshit neocons of Trump's administration. And I said this before, I know all the far right wingers are going to call me conspiratorial or whatever, but I don't care. I think America is honestly doing this on purpose. We all gotta say.
Yeah.
Just like I also think, I wouldn't be surprised if we also did the shit to the tankers too. We also have to say about that maybe. Or is that too conspiratorial?
It's possible.
Yeah, like it's possible.
And thankfully,
maybe not the U.S. Maybe not the U.S. So then maybe like the Saudis or something did it.
Yeah, but definitely
not
But definitely foul play to try and instigate a war. Now I don't know if this would necessarily be good or not, but lately, in like the last week or so, now other countries have their navies in the Strait of Hormuz to protect their shipment, so maybe that could help stop some of this shit happening, perhaps? I'm not fully sure.
Possibly.
But at the same time...
But
then, of course, knowing America... I wouldn't be surprised if America shot one of the ships, too, because I know India's in there, too. Oh, God, that would be fucked up if America, like, shot an Indian ship thinking it was Iranian, because they're so stupid. So, anyways, the main thing we were talking about... Oh, that's right, too, we forgot to mention... Like, literally the day before, day before, I'm getting it all mixed up, when we did our first video, Trump actually was going to do a strike on free areas in Iran, but he stopped it literally 10 minutes before he was going to do it because he was told that 150 people were going to die, so he decided not to do it. And now, of course, even remember that CBS reporter tried to attack Bernie, oh, it's just airstrikes, and remember Bernie owned her ass?
Yep.
For all of you don't know, that is an aggressive act and war. It doesn't matter if it's like a one-time thing. No, think of it like this way. What if, hey, here we go. What if Russia decided to attack targets off in America? What did you all have to say about that? We all know exactly how you'd feel. And guess what? Same situation applies. Oh, yeah. And that's another thing, too. You gotta watch out. That could easily start World War III, invading Iran. That's why you should not be invading them in the first place. But now, of course, we need to get to the
Iran and Syria. They seem to be the Iran, Syria, and maybe the Ukraine.
Yeah.
They are potential flashpoints for World War III.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get into the actual policies, too, which we need to talk about. Now, this is what I said in the first video. If we had full control, let's say if like president or whatever the fuck, we had full control, we could do whatever we want basically. I said we need to get back, we need to end every single sanction that Trump has done in the last year or so, and we need to get back into JPCO or whatever it's pronounced, and I would also maybe give them compensation to try and maybe make them try and get back into the deal because we've destroyed their economy so bad. And we all had to say about that. Pretty much you all agreed.
Yeah.
Pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, although, who knows, they probably aren't going to follow along with it, even though up to this point they still were, although if you didn't know, they're now gone over the enrichment level from uranium or whatever, so they're...
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. But hey, guess what?
Yeah, I saw that this morning.
Yeah, I saw it on RT. That was actually 4 days ago, if y'all didn't know about that, when that happened, or 5 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like brand new, now Trump's responding about it now, so who knows. Although he did do sanctions after the tech didn't happen. That was one thing we didn't cover, so hopefully nothing else happens. But shit, what was I gonna say about the oh yeah, that's right. How much you want to bet though they're gonna probably be very impossible to try and get back to follow the agreement. And if we ended all the sanctions and gave them compensation, all that crap, it would probably be very difficult.
There'd be a good chance they'd never trust the US on anything again.
Yep. And then of course another thing too, I forgot to mention, the Europeans, they need to fucking like stand up for us and actually start doing they're doing some sort of like a way for Iran to do their communist shit away from the sanctions or whatever. Europe needs to stand up for us for once and actually do it. Oh my god, so much stupid shit.
Yes.
But yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Iran is probably never going to trust us, and honestly, who can blame them? I know everyone. We already know all the far right in the audience. If they watch it, they're gonna say, "Oh, you're all just a bunch of evil anti-Americans that always say we're wrong by default." And this instance, we are wrong. It's not fucking debatable. They were following the agreement the entire way. And by the way, they aren't going to get a nuke. They were never going to use it offensively either, even if they had one, which you all think they do. And by the way, the Iran deal made it so they couldn't even get one for like 10 years, basically. So it's so much bullshit and so wrong. All right, so now we've done with Iran. The next one, I guess we're going to go back in a geographical order like we did last time. So next up was Venezuela, of course. I said in the thing, which everyone, of course, agreed with, I would end all the sanctions that Trump and Obama did, too, recently in the last few years.
Yeah.
And I would cut all the support from Guaido, or whatever the fuck his name is, and I would try and normalize the relationship. Because guess what? I know all you far right-wingers, especially over at PragerU, go, a socialism vuvuzela, remember vlog?
Yep, I remember that.
And as someone like me who actually researched this topic, you are wrong if you're going to blame bad, evil socialism for it. Because guess what? Actually the cause? Us doing the sanctions, Saudi Arabia cutting the price of oil, which directly impacts
the oil price.
Them. And them
and Venezuela and the Venezuelan government not diversifying their economy.
Yeah, that's true too. And our problem is not really their fault because Venezuela is not like autarkic. They can't like grow their own food like America can, so they had to import their own food. But since they don't have the money to afford that because of what we're doing in Saudi Arabia, that's the huge reason why the economy has fallen to shit. So no, it has nothing to do with socialism, especially since, inconvenient fact, 70% of the economy is privatized. Really hard, inconvenient fact to swallow. What?
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all agree, of course, right?
Yeah.
All right, now.
So the next one on the list, Syria.
Yeah. So maybe.
This is pretty simple with Syria.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy of my enemy is not my friend.
Yep. Exactly.
The enemy of my enemy could well be another enemy.
Yep.
In this case, the enemy of Assad is ISIS. The enemy of Assad is Al-Qaeda, who basically have Idlib province at this point.
Yeah,
and they've had Idlib province since pretty much the start of the war.
Yeah, and of course we all agree America needs to get the hell out of there, and we need to stop trying to keep Syria from going to Idlib to get rid of them because, you know, America said, oh, we'll respond if you go in there, especially if we do another chemical attack, which is full of shit, too. Although there is some good news in that, because, like, one time in November last year, and I think one time just back this last April, there were, 2 chemical attacks that America blames Assad on, but no strikes ever since. So as I said in the first video, I think America's actually too scared to maybe do something about it. One, because Russia there, and two, those SR-400 missiles or whatever, they seem to work pretty well, so maybe, hopefully, nothing will happen now.
And remember also, China's in there too now as well.
Yeah, because Kyle covered that 2 years ago. So yeah, we need to stay out, maybe provide some sort of aid, since we did cause the Civil War in some regard with the CIA and all that crap, if you all didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the interesting irony on that one.
Yeah.
The Pentagon armed one group of rebels.
Yeah.
And the second group of rebels were armed by the CIA, and those two groups wound up fighting each other.
Yeah, because we all are because America is supporting Islamic fundamentalists to get rid of the secular dictator so we can get that sweet, sweet oil deal and prevent that oil pipeline. Actually, no, get that oil pipeline to happen, remember? Because Syria doesn't want it.
Yes.
It's all about the resources, everyone. It's not about geopolitics, anything. Oh, and the Cold War, too, and now that crap as well. Oh, my God, so much stupidity. They need to mind our damn business. And yeah, we all agree with that, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something about Syria that I wanted to say, but I can't remember. Maybe Vlog knows? I feel like I'm missing something. We mentioned the the strikes. We mentioned Russia being there. The chemicals, Islamic fundamentalists.
Speaking of the chemical attack, I actually remember one of the reports might have been into the one in Duma. One of the reports was actually, the release of that was blocked by the US and Russia. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when that happened.
Yeah, because remember the good old white helmets, remember? Because all those chemical attacks and whatever, pretty much all of them are staged by the rebels to try and get America to respond, for God's sake. How can anyone not fall for this shit, for God's sake? Come on. And think of it, too. Just like, remember when America accused Iran of attacking the oil tankers? Why would they do that? Why would they want America to respond to them? Same goes for here. Why would Assad, who's winning the civil war finally after all these decades almost, why would he do a chemical attack on his own civilians to get America to respond to him and maybe attack him? Why would he want that? Because guess what? They're not batshit insane crazy people like you think they are. Alright, so I think we've now beaten Syria to death. Now we get on to Ukraine, which, of course, I said in the video, we need to cut. I don't know about all aid of Ukraine, but I probably would, but at least stop arming the rebels. Definitely needs to be done.
Yes.
I also said...
All those rebels are neo-Nazis.
Yeah, that's
or
not
aligned with neo-Nazis.
Yeah, so there you go. America supporting neo-Nazis in Ukraine. How about that?
But hilariously enough, so is Israel.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be called anti-Semitic for that, remember?
Oh, God, I'm going to be called forget anti-Semitic. I'm going to be called a Nazi for that.
Yep.
Saying that.
Maybe we'll get to that later. Oh, that'll be funny. But another thing, too, is I said Ukraine should not be allowed at all costs to join NATO, because when I've read up the NATO's, part of, joining NATO, the way it sounded to me, basically, since, Russia has Crimea, if Ukraine joined NATO, it basically would start World War III over Crimea, since it was about sovereignty, basically, and since Ukraine still recognizes Crimea as them, yeah, a very good reason why Ukraine should not be in NATO, especially since we violated the original deal about not expanding to Eastern Europe, remember?
Yes, I remember that.
And another thing, too, I'm probably get the most shit for this. I would probably tell Ukraine to just forget about Crimea. You're not going to get back unless you want to go with war with Russia. Maybe we could try, as Harry said, maybe find a diplomatic approach to it. But other than that, there's nothing you could do, so you might as well just drop it. Because I'm not going to start World War III over a little island off your coast. Sorry. And you all agree with that, of course.
Yeah.
And thank you, Harry, for bringing it up.
Yes.
Although me and Vlog would probably think about that if someone brought it up, but we just didn't think about it right off the top of our head. All right, then finally, North Korea. Funny enough, North Korea, remember, was originally the main worry when Trump first got it. Now all of a sudden, it's become the most quiet. And of course, new developments happened just recently in the last week. Remember?
Because he steps into North Korea.
Yeah, Trump was the first president ever to step foot in North Korea.
First president to do so.
And he was him and Kim were sucking each other off, which, oh, that's right, remember in the video I did about that asshole earlier that was attacking Trump for cuddling up to Putin and Kim. You want them to get along because I'll be more likely to get a peace agreement, because remember, technically, the Korean War technically is still going on. We never signed
Same with the Cold War.
Yeah, it was a ceasefire, so technically the Korean War's still going on for almost 70 years. You should want peace no matter what. And like I said in the video, you have to talk to these people if you want to have a peace agreement with them. You can't just ignore because, I'm a dictatorship. Now, as I said in the original video, I would pretty much let the status quo go on. Let South Korea, Russia, China, Japan, all the countries around to deal with it. And of course, I also mentioned in the video, no, Trump gets absolutely zero credit for what's going on at the time right now. In fact, he gets a whole bunch of blame for almost escalating the war with his rhetoric. If anyone deserves credit, it's South Korea and all the areas around them that deserve it more. America deserves
South Korea, Japan, and China.
Yeah, especially. And Russia, too. They're the ones that deserve the main credit for this, not America whatsoever. Oh, my God. And then, of course, if you remember the Hanoi summit that just happened back in February, of course, Korea, let's see if I remember. They stopped doing tests except for one just a month or so ago. They got rid of a couple sites and such, and of course they wanted some sanction relief, but because of Bolton and Pompeo's stupid ass, that never happened. Oh, and by the way, vlog, if you didn't know, apparently Bolton was in Mongolia instead of being in Korea with Trump. So they're actually an indication that maybe he could finally be fired.
Yeah.
Oh, thank the non-existent God. If Bolton finally gets fired, then Pompeo's ass will go next. Oh, and not only that, apparently Tucker Carlson's in Trump's ear now, hardcore now, if you didn't know that. On that RT article. Yes. Oh, God. Tucker Carlson, we hate you. You're a fucking dishonest piece of shit. But please apply as much pressure as possible to make sure Trump actually does
Tim,
the shit
I
he
agree.
says he's gonna do.
Tim, I agree. And racist. Don't forget that part. And racist. Yeah.
He's a white nationalist. Remember?
Exactly. AKA racist. Exactly.
Yeah. But I would pretty much do the status quo. I actually would probably give some sanction relief since I think they've been doing a good part in their regard, and maybe that would help get the settlement. I mean, the process going to get an agreement. I'm pretty sure you all agreed with that too.
Yeah.
Alright, so that was all the hot spots in the world. Anyone want to talk about maybe other things on foreign policy related? Maybe go by region?
Briefly mentioned Myanmar.
Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned it before, but go on.
Well, with Myanmar, I mean, you don't hear that much about what's going on there.
Yeah.
There's here, like, when people say, oh, why can't Islam be more like Buddhism? And then I just point them straight to Myanmar.
Oh,
there is currently a Buddhist majority-led genocide against the Rohingya. And the reason you don't hear about it is because the Rohingya are Muslim.
Yep. And of course...
And it doesn't fit with the narrative.
And you know, funny enough, I actually brought that up with a bunch of idiot right-wingers. All of a sudden, it actually sounded like they said, that sounds like a good idea, exterminating them. They're evil Muslims and all. What the fuck? What a bunch of disgusting assholes. And then, of course, remember the other point that you brought up about what's happening in Myanmar, about our certain brown buffalo, remember? So, as you had to say about that?
She really should lose her Nobel Peace Prize. And to be consistent, so should Obama.
But I was talking about Chank, remember? Because you brought up that point, too, about Myanmar.
Oh, yes. So he brought up how he actually compared what's going on in Myanmar to the Armenian genocide.
Wow.
Another point, because remember...
And in fact, they've actually done a big chunk of a video addressing, where Cenk actually addressed the Armenian genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, that's not...
The video, TYT Conspiracy Theories Debunked.
Yeah. Because that's what the one main conspiracy theory that the right does on TYT so much that Chink still denies the Armenian genocide. Not true anymore. In fact, it's honestly really bad because there's this one liberal in the UK I watch. I can't remember her name all the time. Oh, Otterface her name was. A couple thousand views. Pretty good liberal and all. Unfortunately, she believes that crap like no matter what. I even point out the videos to where Chink actually said what Vlog just said. Still denies it. Still denies it at all costs. It's really maybe we should actually do a video on that one day. And that's Vlog's main strength. That would be very interesting, wouldn't it, Vlog?
Yeah.
Do you know Nuance, bro?
Hmm?
I'm talking the Vlog.
Oh. What?
What?
Do you know Nuance, bro? She actually used his video to say why Chang basically believes the Armenian genocide.
What?
So,
no, I mean...
That's really bad.
Wait, guys... Yeah, no, guys, we agree, like, Cenk, he no longer denies the Armenian genocide, but, like, unfortunately, like the right-wing trolls on YouTube still call him, like, a greasy brown water buffalo, so there's that, yeah.
Those are
that was from Devin Tracy. That was from Devin. He started that shit.
Yeah, or chunk, guys, or instead of Cenk Uyghur, chunk yogurt.
Or stunk yogurt. Hey, just like Devin Tracy came up with lesbian softball head coach for Kyle, remember?
Yes, he came up with that as well.
Oh my god, what a piece.
I think even when I wound up using that as a bit of a troll thing,
Bryce.
I actually used this team is named the team here. This is the team they actually played for.
Wait, Bryce, who came up with chunk yogurt? Like, was it right-wing trolls or someone else?
That was Atheism is Unstoppable.
No, because I see some like right-wing troll on TYT like YouTube comments call him like chunk yogurt instead of jank yogurt. Get chunk yogurt. You guys get
That was pretty funny.
Turkish names.
That was brought up, I think, by that was started by
and I have room
AIU as well.
Yep.
And I have room to talk. Trust me, lol. Turkish names, lol.
So maybe we'll talk about other areas too. Because I think we brought up a couple other areas too. Like one area I know we're gonna definitely agree on. Central America and South America and America's history in those places. We need to stay out at all costs. And probably pay some massive compensations for what we did. And, of course, encourage them to legalize drugs, since that's one of the main problems down there. Especially since I can't remember what country it was, but it's less safe than Iraq was at the height of the Iraq war that Kyle covered years ago, remember?
Yes, I remember that.
Oh, my God. And then here's another one. Brazil. Oh my God.
Wait, Timbo. Look at Jair Bolsonaro, right?
Oh, fuck that asshole piece of shit. And I would, because I don't know if you noticed, do you know he's trying to like blind and be like an ally to America? Absolutely.
Only because Trump.
No. Brazil, you better stay neutral as your. I don't know about your constitution, but basically your culture, you stay neutral, you motherfucker. Hell no, if I had any control, you're not allying with us whatsoever, especially since you might try and invade Venezuela too. Oh my God. And of course, how much do we got to bring up? Probably racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, denies climate change and all that other crap. Oh my God.
Every single is in the book.
Yep. And
he is.
Thankfully though, I saw a poll recently on can't remember where it was, like a month or so ago. His polls are under like 50% now, so thankfully, hopefully Brazilians are finally realizing he's a piece of shit like Trump now. But of course now they got they got to still deal with him for 3 years. Oh, wait, that's right. There's actually a corruption case with his son just recently, if y'all didn't know it, so maybe he can be impeached possibly. Oh, thank God if that would be the case.
That'd be awesome.
Oh God, that piece of shit. Oh my God. So anything else you want to say about that retard?
Wait, Tim, you said there was a corruption case against
his son.
Jair Bolsonaro?
Yeah, I think it was his son or something like that. And I think he's in the government too, like nepotism or whatever. I had to look it up again. But I think there's a corruption case going on with him.
That's what.
Oh, yeah, you know the
That's about it, I guess.
Oh, where's that? Hang on.
Wow, that's about it, I guess.
And then that reminds me too, another thing. Oh yeah.
I'm about to subject you to preventative cancer.
What? What'd you say?
My father, my father, my father, my father, my father, my father, my father is my father, my father's my father, my father, my father.
Heck, you watching?
My father, my father, my father, my father, my father.
Can you hear that?
What the fuck?
Meghan McCain saying "my father" for 1 minute straight.
Oh my God, she is so pathetic. That is hilarious.
She's the queen of nepotism.
Yeah, exactly. And then she cries like a bitch if you make fun of her father. He deserves it. Oh my God. But now we need to get back to more of the topics. Like, maybe any of you guys anything to say about like Europe possibly? Or anywhere else? Any other place in the world you want to talk about?
Hold on, we've got 15 seconds left in this.
My father, my father, my father, my father, my father,
That
my
is
father,
so
my father,
pathetic of her.
my father, 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 and my father, my father.
Hey, I actually got a good idea. We got 3 countries we could talk about that we talked about last time too. Remember Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Russia. Oh boy. How about we do Saudi Arabia and Israel first? Of course, we already know.
Yes.
We would sanction the shit out of them until Israel stops committing their genocide against the Palestinians and finally recognize them as a state. And of course, Saudi Arabia, until they end their war in Yemen, stop funding Islamic fundamentalism across the world, and of course, finally stop oppressing their people. And all that other crap if anyone else wants to add up. Oh, hey, Vlog, remember? Remind us how fascist Israel is, remember?
Oh, yes. One of the people in Europe actually compared Israel to Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. And I actually remember it was a few months ago. They actually changed their laws, so now only Jews can be citizens. And remember, guys, And remember, guys, it's not an apartheid state. We're anti-Semitic for saying that, remember?
Literally communist Nazis who are also members of ISIS for saying that.
Yep. So yeah, Israel is an apartheid piece of shit. It's not debatable, so stop trying to defend it. And of course, maybe you should stop calling us anti-Semitic for pointing out, because it's getting kind of stale, just like racist is pretty much being stale somewhat because of the SJWs. Oh my God, it's so pathetic. And of course, Saudi Arabia pretty much agreed on that, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, one thing we talked about.
Bryce.
What were we saying?
Wait, Bryce, can you, since you know the most, can you talk about like Russia and like what Vladimir Putin is doing, or?
Yeah,
or,
I actually know about a lot of too. Because that was like a main topic we talk about Russia too in our history.
Putin is basically an oligarch.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make oligarch. He's basically an oligarch, and he wants to be wants to turn the US turn Russia into an oligarchy. He's very horrible when it comes to a number of social issues.
Yeah.
He reduced the penalty for domestic violence, which made all sorts of horrible things there. That saw the domestic violence rate skyrocket to the point where they couldn't keep track of it anymore.
We don't need to... and of course, remember the gay issue, how bad they came on that regard.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. I actually...
And for those who think that is good against, when it comes to Muslims, and not really. I mean, Chechnya is a fundamentalist Muslim state.
Yeah.
And when Muslims are in Russia, they're persecuted badly. I mean, there's a reason most of those Soviet states are majority Muslim.
Oh.
That reminds me too about the gay issue. I saw a poll recently from like 2013. It was like 85% of Russians are against gay rights. And I actually remember reading a poll just 5 years before, like back in 2008. I remember it saying like, I think it was like 52 to 54% were for gay rights. They were even better than America at the time. So what the fuck happened all of a sudden? Like a 30-plus point swing in 5 years?
It didn't happen.
Oh my God. We already know why. The propaganda and all that crap. Oh my God.
Yep.
And then of course, as I brought up about the history of like the Soviet Union, for all of you didn't know, economically, Russia, after 30 years after the collapse of communism, is actually worse off now than it was before the Soviet Union collapsed. That is stunning. Yep. And for all of you who don't remember, like, I looked up, it was like 1% of the country was in, like, the poverty. As soon as the evil privatization took place and shock therapy, boom! Like, in 4 years, up to, like, almost half of the country was in poverty. And so bad that, like, it was so bad that life expectancy for both men and women, especially men, shrunk by like 10 years, and it's still never recovered from the high it was during the Soviet Union. It's still worse off now 30 years later. So for all of you saying, oh, Russia's better off now that the communists have collapsed, nope, you are dead fucking wrong. The collapse of the Soviet Union economically was the worst thing that could have happened to Russia, and it's not fucking debatable. Oh, it's another thing too, like they kept bringing up, oh, they couldn't buy, I mean, they had consumer good shortages and all that crap, remember? Well, guess what? In the mid-90s, when they actually had consumer goods, no one could buy them anymore because they had no fucking money.
Yep.
Just the same thing that's going on right now in America with all the free trade crap. Oh, and of course, Jake, remember, defense Trump at all costs about how the economy's doing good. No, it's not. God damn.
No.
Oh, my God.
Kind of the same with Australia. I mean, 2 of the last 3 years, we've literally had, the festive season has literally kept Australia out of recession.
Oh, my God, he's so
dumb.
Yeah.
And another thing you too forgot to mention, you forgot to
talk about government thing.
Yeah, and you forgot to bring up Russia's like foreign policy. You've talked about that too, remember?
Oh yeah. As I said, when it came to which one was it? Chechnya. They've been brutal in the past.
Yeah, and they still are.
Absolutely brutal, and they seem to be a bit of a ends justify the means.
Yeah.
Type of country.
Yeah, they believe that they're basically they basically believe the order crap. Hey, reminds you of like you keep breaking up. You there still?
I stopped so that you could talk.
Oh yeah, they're like order and authoritarian were just like East Asia, like China, Korea, and Japan. They are hardcore in a collectivist and order and authoritarianism. And I feel bad for my you have to deal with her hardcore right-wing grandparents seeing them right now.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hey, maybe we should talk about that. China, Korea, and Japan, that part of East Asia. Oh, God. Me and Vlog can go forever about how shitty Japan is and how racist and sexist they are. And they are the alt-right wet dream.
Yes.
If Japan was white, it would be the alt-right utopia in their eyes. They treat their women like crap. They treat all minorities like shit. You know what's pretty sad, too, about Japan? Since we forgave them for World War II pretty much, which, by the way, haven't you noticed, no one ever seems to bring up the atrocities that Japan did in World War II at all?
Yeah, with those, they're often, though when historians do, they often compare it to what the Nazis did.
Yeah, it's really that bad, guys, if y'all didn't know it. What Japan did in World War II is really as bad as what the Nazis did. And, of course, America, try to remember, America pretty much gave Hirohito a complete pass if you didn't know that. Remember?
Yeah.
The argument was, if we arrest or kill Hirohito, Japan will basically have like a massive like civil war, and it would take millions and millions of troops to like suppress it. That's pretty fucking bad if you think about it. You need an emperor in order to keep your society in check. That shows like how much of a hive mind.
Even then, that's not working. Since Japan's birth rates have crashed through the floor.
Oh my God.
And that for a while.
Yeah.
That's a Western thing. That's going to be the case for everywhere, pretty much. Same goes for Europe, too.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God. Oh, it's right. What other places? Oh, it's right.
That's what the alt-right loves to bitch and moan about.
Oh, yeah. And another thing, too, I like to bring up, too, about Japan. No one seems to ever talk about it because, at least they got eroge. I mean, yeah, eroge in anime, of course. It's like no one ever brings this shit up when it's so obvious. Look at what they did to China and the Koreans. Oh my God. And East Asia too. Oh, at least the one thing they at least the one good thing they did, they actually did compensation for the comfort women in Korea, even though I thought it was really paltry. They accepted, they thought it was good enough, so at least that's one good thing at least. But it doesn't change the fact of what they did. And of course, they keep electing far-right assholes that keep destroying their economy, and every time they vote for, like, the centrist liberals, like, one's like, election later, boom, gone, and the super majority is in for the conservatives. I guess you gotta keep that ethno-state going at all costs, remember?
Oh yep.
Yep. Japan, the alt-right wet dream if they were just white.
Well, I know Poland is like that as well.
Yeah.
Most of the alt-right was like Poland.
Yeah, Poland.
Even though Poland is an absolute shithole.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. We should talk about, remember, Dave Collin. Computing forever, remember?
Oh yes, he converted.
Yep.
That's right, he converted.
And he said before, because Otterface, actually, I mentioned before, actually did a video mocking him too. Because remember, he's in Ireland. Remember last year or whatever it was when Ireland passed that got rid of their anti-abortion laws in overwhelming majority, and he had such a meltdown over it. He basically insinuated that he would probably move to Russia or Poland because of it. Dude, and he said Poland and Russia were literally like the beacons of the West. Oh my God! What the fuck? No!
Calm the fuck down, Timbo.
Horrible! Russia's horrible! They're fucking backwards! Look how they treat women and gays! How is that a beacon for the West? Eastern Europe is backwards as fuck! You fucking... But hey...
Belarus is still a dictatorship.
Hey, you know why he likes him? Because he's an authoritarian cunt like they are in Eastern Europe. Oh my God. Hey, at least he finally admitted it. Oh my God. Oh yeah, another thing we forgot to mention too, we said in the video, like Afghanistan and Iraq. Oh, that's right, remember we brought up like the Taliban, all that crap. Remember we're supposed to be there in Afghanistan to stop the Taliban, even though they're actually more bigger territory and have more influence in Afghanistan than they were at the height of the when we first went in there. It's not working. They're not going to get rid of them. The only one that's going to get rid of them is the Afghans themselves. And also, I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of shit probably, but I'm right, and you all know I'm right, and it can't be deniable. The Taliban would be preferable to like Al-Qaeda in them because they're going to stay in the region. They're not doing a worldwide jihad like Al-Qaeda in them. And anyone with a functioning brain.
Remember though also that the Taliban actually defeated ISIS.
And Al Qaeda.
And ISIS tried to create a landmass in
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
And Pakistan
ISIS
too.
was actually defeated by the Taliban.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. Let them fight themselves. And the Taliban is preferable. And if we want to get rid of them, Afghanistan's going to have to get rid of them themselves. We can't do anything about it. The only thing America really should do is maybe like economic and cultural like pressure, and that's pretty much it. Through the barrel of a gun ain't working. Oh my god. Hey, you know what? Japan did that. Look at Japan's perception of the world. No one knows about their atrocities because all they can think about is anime and all that crap and Pokemon and all that shit. Look how well it worked for them. That's unfortunately true. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Anywhere else you want to talk about? Europe, Africa, whatever.
Note that we are running a shadow war in Africa that we've been running for a while.
Yeah, America's doing shadow war crap in Africa and meddling their shit. Instead of doing maybe more like what China does. China's actually like building up infrastructure in Africa, if you didn't know about that. They're investing a shit ton.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, if America wants to actually improve the world, although if you think about it, if you improve Africa's infrastructure, that actually could hurt like combating climate change too, because they're the least emitters, if you remember. So that's one bad thing, though. But hey, it's still better. That's the best way. Like, if America wants to spread their influence around, do it economically and culturally, not through the barrel of a gun. That's not going to work, and millions of people have died because of our policies. And then, and then, of course, like, Europe. Hey, what about the surge in right-wingers in Europe now? That's pretty scary.
Oh, that is scary as hell.
And then, of course, you have idiots like Carl who denied at all costs, remember?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Yep, he denies that because he's an idiot.
Yep.
He's an enabler of the alt-right.
Oh,
Old Sargon.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and he failed spectacularly when he tried to run for MEP.
Yeah, that was funny as shit. And he tried to say, I won in the end if you... Hey, I know. Have any of you heard of Vosh?
Yes.
Oh, he is awesome.
I've
watched him like crazy lately. I'm going to post in the chat if Harry doesn't know about him, because this guy is awesome. Although he's the,
He is.
I think he was an anarcho-syndicalist or something. He's almost...
Yeah, he's an anarcho-syndicalist.
But he is awesome. Yep. Harry, you
so
gotta
he's,
check this guy out.
Chomsky's philosophy.
Yeah. Who's that?
This guy is like... He's like a better version of Destiny. Wouldn't you agree with that vlog? I think he's better.
Yes. At least when it comes to economics.
Yes. And he also... Do you know the Ralph Retort or whatever it's called?
I've heard of the Ralph Report, yes.
Oh, I think it was called the Ralph Retort, actually. Oh my god, they're Nazis and anti-Semitic like crazy. He went on their show like a few weeks ago, and he made a good time mocking the shit out of him, and they kept bringing up about all the anti-Semitic tropes and all of that. Oh my god, it was so freaking funny. You should check that out if you didn't see that. And he also destroys PragerU lately, and he destroyed Hunter Avalon recently too.
Yes.
Oh my god. Let me see if I can find that, because I'm sure Vlog would definitely want to watch that. And then we'll probably wrap it up right here, since we couldn't talk about the religious crap. Hopefully, because unfortunately, Harry, maybe you want to talk about this, or do you want us to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow for you?
Wait, you mean talk about religion, or talk about the topic you guys want to talk about?
No,
or?
about you. You know what's going to happen to you tomorrow?
Oh, you mean that?
The move.
You mean that? You mean that?
That you're moving.
You mean that since I'm moving from America to like Cyprus, that we're not gonna have it's gonna be hard for us to like film again. Is that what you're talking about, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very difficult. Maybe we could talk about the times and shit. So I'm still trying to find.
I mean, Timbo, you can literally, on your phone, you can literally just like check like time zones, but like Australia.
Vlog did that earlier, and the times, unfortunately, we're not.
We did. That's the problem.
Yeah, because we're in different sides of the world. Oh my god, I don't know why I can't find. Maybe I'll find it after we do the show. So you all are done. You have anything else to say on foreign policy?
No.
No, we're good.
All right. So I hope
you got a Dropbox, Tim, so I can drop the recording in for you.
I'll end in a second. So we'll end it off here. Hopefully soon we could do another episode. Although Harry's moving to Cyprus very soon tomorrow, so I'm on one side of the world, Vlog's on the other side of the world. Harry's like straight in the middle, so it's gonna be very bad times for us. So who knows? It might maybe only one of us, I mean, two of us can do it at a time or something like that. Maybe we have to, or I'm rotating all. We'll have to figure it out, but we're gonna try and keep the show going. Also, keep an eye out. Hopefully for episode 3, if we do it, we'll do the religion crap since we didn't get to do it last time, and then we'll watch the videos that Vlog posted earlier, like Andy Worski's stupid ass. Remember? Oh, that'll be.
Oh yeah. Uncle Tommy sodomizes meltdown as well.
I remember when he had a meltdown when he found out Rave Dubin was gay. Ah, that was so funny. Nice.
That's the video I posted.
Yep.
That's the video I posted.
Yep. So tune in soon. Hopefully, maybe in another week or so, we'll find out, and we'll try and figure out a time right then when we could do it. So see you guys next time.